What is going on, everyone? It's Tyler McKinney here, and yeah, we're gonna do a live stream. If you would, let me know in the chat if you can hear me all right. If I need to turn things up, what I need to do, just let me know, and we'll kind of do it as we go. I haven't done anything like this in a while, and so I'm a little rusty. Been a little rusty with the video, so it's nice that you guys have been kind with me with that as well. But Brown Tiger Mother, I see you here, brother, and I'm glad you're here with me. So yeah, I figured, we just take some time together. Probably about 45 minutes. And good so far. Excellent. Sounds good on your end. Good. Just let me know if you're having any issues. And two, let me know in the chat where you guys are from. It's kind of cool. I'm from Northwest Ohio, so I mean, if you don't have to tell me exactly geographically where you are, but it's kind of cool to see, how far away we get with this live stream and that. So excellent. Yeah. Is it Tay? Tay's from Tennessee. That's pretty cool. And hey, Gollum. And so I'm actually going to be, every year we go to Tennessee, we go to Gatlinburg, a fun time. Got one in St. Louis. Caw for you and your Battlehawks. That was crazy. Can't wait to see how you guys pack that stadium in St. Louis. I'm from Locust, North Carolina. Yeah, I got you. Central Missouri, excellent. Michael, glad to have you. Dude, spring football is so great. So yeah, it's been great, and it's really been kind of been surprised with just like that the media's been embracing it this time around, because I feel like I'm always on the defensive, and this past week I haven't had to be, which is kind of crazy with that. So yeah, kind of one of those type of things. So I figured, kind of, as people keep trickling in, and those that are watching, what I kind of wanted to talk about was I mean, you guys can go ahead and throw questions and that in the chat, and we'll go through and we'll talk about that stuff as we get around to it. But one of the things I want to talk about is just like how the XFL has, like, I've been watching these games and how they've really tailored the gameplay for fast-paced gameplay, which part of it I really like, and there's a part of it for me that is a little disheartening, and we'll kind of get into that kind of as we go. But the part that I really like that it has kind of picked up the play of the game has been just the speed at which things are going. So, when after every play, unless it's within the last 2 minutes, the clock doesn't stop and it keeps on running. Let's see here what you got. I feel like I'm the only one around here that is strongly encouraging people to watch the XFL. Listen, you're one voice right now, but I promise you, as things get going on, people are going to be jumping on the bandwagon, and it'll people will be like, oh yeah, this and this, and you can be like, listen, brother, I've been here since day one. It's much different from the NFL and USFL, so I like it. But that Dragon game made me so mad. Oh yeah, it was kind of one of those things that was difficult for me, because I was really enjoying it, and I really enjoy the league, and it's hard for me to be a fan and somebody who's trying to cover everything and be objective in it throughout the whole thing. So that is kind of a thing there with it. Give me 1 second here. There you go. Just repositioning the chat a little bit so you guys can see exactly what all's going on and see what I'm seeing at the time that I'm seeing it. You guys are on about a 10-second delay. I tried it earlier, so we'll see with that. But yeah, it's definitely a different game than the USFL and the NFL, and even really college in that matter. And what I really noticed is that these drives. So the XFL is going to be, I've already discussed this before, but they're going to be lower scoring just by nature. everybody wants to see a 2-point conversion. They want to see a 3-point conversion. They want to see a 1-point conversion, and all of that play ran. But it's actually a lot harder to convert those than it is to just kick a field goal. And so if you think about it, if on average, let's say it's a 30% success rate, whatever it be. So, 1 out of every 3 touchdowns is getting an extra point. So, let's just average it at 2. So if you do, 3 touchdowns, that's 18 points there. So you're at 20 points if you get the 2-point conversion. Now, in a regular NFL game, you're at 21 points. So you're already 1 point behind, and I would even go as far as to, it really averages more out to where you're about, every 2 touchdowns to 1, you're missing points. So you're leaving points on the board there. So for me, that's kind of the first thing, is that it's going to be a lower scoring game. And one of the things with that I've noticed a lot with the media is talking about how, the offenses are slower and things like that, which they're going to be. But let me get back to the chat here, see what you guys got going on here. See, it's much different from the NFL. Yeah. Let's see here. I was super intrigued in the XFL 2.0, was hoping it would come back, and if it came back, it would just be exciting. Yeah, it definitely has been exciting. Very curious with CBS. There's only big network that does not have a spring league. I wonder if they're going to join the deal with ESPN or Fox. The thing about CBS is you got to remember that they are very much tied into the whole college basketball scene. So I don't know how they're really wanting to take on any of that, or if they're going to. It's really interesting to see with that. Well, quick, what's Michael got to say? I can't stand how I'm bringing it up. People immediately compare it to the NFL. Obviously, it isn't the NFL. It's the XFL. Try it out. What it is, brand new competitive. Yeah, listen, first time around, I had a lot of people like that. With me. And you just got to keep going and sharing it with people. People will start to get to see bits and pieces of it, and then they'll kind of, take it and run with it. What you've got to do is kind of start off with the craziness about it, especially with like football fans or just casual fans. So the beer snake thing right now is just kind of crazy. So like, my wife listens to me just to, pander to me and that when I think something's cool, because usually, it doesn't matter to her. But when I mentioned the whole thing with the whole beer snake scandal, the beer snake gate, whatever you want to call it, and the lemons, it intrigued her. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily going to take her and make her go and actually want to watch an XFL game, but it intrigued her to watch the video of them throwing the lemons on the field and to see all of those security guards climbing over those barricades to get those terrible people that are putting together that beer snake. And so, you've got that type of thing with it. And then also, too, the comeback that the Battlehawks had, you tell that to a football fan, they're gonna get intrigued by that type of stuff, and that's the type of thing that we need to kind of use and go off of that. And spring football is kind of a little bit more fun to watch because they're. It's new, and things that are new, you get to experience for the first time. It really does kind of, you don't know what to expect with it. So, going back to kind of the whole thing though with the offenses. So with that running clock, you're not going to get as many opportunities to run plays, and they're still running about 60 plays, and which on average is probably about it's about 10 to 15 plays less than what an NFL team is going to be running. So you get about 10 to 15, which is, it averages out to be about 2 drives that you're missing out on there. But the dynamic of the play is kind of a lot more too. So if you're missing out on 2 drives, let's say an average of, you're missing out on what, about 40 to 80 yards total between the 2 drives. So if we're missing out on, roughly about 60 yards, well, if you're getting about 260 to 280 yards or, you add another 40, 60 on top of that, and that gets you to your about 300 to 320. And, you can kind of figure out where this game is actually sitting at, to where it's not as dismal as what it's kind of made out to be. So there is that factor that you've got to factor in with the offenses and that type of a thing. And I think that's part of the reason why they're kind of trying to run these fast-paced offenses and kind of go that route, is because they know that they've got less opportunities, and that might be why they abandon the run. I don't know, but you've got that going on. So before I go to my next point, let's hit back up. Drew, it's good to see you. Yeah, thanks for that, and much love back to you, brother. Let's see here. I'm glad that they at least are going to 4 hubs. Yeah, for the USFL, they really need to do this, because they, as you saw this past weekend, even though it was 12,000 people in that stadium, it made a difference in that game, that DC game, especially with them backed up in that back end zone. It made a difference in that game. And so them having fans in the stand at least for half of those home games, because half of the hub is going to be a home game, the other half of the hub is going to be people showing up to, that's their team or whatever, but it'll be kind of what you ended up with kind of like the Stallions. But who knows, you might get some fans that live around the Michigan area that, end up rooting for the Pittsburgh team. We'll see. See here, Jack Cohn, top 4 so far, better than Pillett, Lynch, Silver, and Perez. You got me there, Ghost. I've gotten no complaints right there. Jack Cohn is not the issue on that team. They need to get a little bit more creative, a little bit better with their play calling on the offense, and they need to do a little bit better job in protecting him. And I think they'll be just fine. The running game is totally fine. They're with it. Let's see here, what else we got going on. The best QBs in the XFL don't even play this week. Brett Hundley and Kyle Sloter. Most NFL experts would put those two at the top. And so part of that is because that's all that they've seen. I mean, it's like trying to make a pick on these guys that are playing defense in this XFL, and a lot of them they've never played any spring ball. They never played any ball in the NFL. The last ball we had of them is 3 years ago in college. And because they've been bouncing around on NFL squads, practice squads on and off and that with it. So it is really difficult. So that's all that people have to go off of. I do want to see Eric Dungy. I've been wanting to see him since 2.0, when he had that family emergency and then wasn't able to play. I think that he can sling the ball. I really like what he's got going on there. Pie Guy, hey, thank you for loving the channel. Thank you for watching. And one of the last year in lost interest, never watched again. I don't know why I like the XFL better. The XFL, they've got a really nice color scheme. I did not like the color scheme whatsoever with the USFL, and I know that they were trying to, feed to that kind of nostalgia thing and kind of doing that, but you really needed some refresh there. It was just too much red for me, and I'm a cool color guy anyways, so to have so much of that warm color really threw me off as well. It was hard to watch on the field, and then you had no fans in the stands to where it was like a glorified practice. It is what it is. But I will say, the thing about the USFL is that they're building this thing as kind of like this is, these are sure bet investments that they're making. They're not really going out and putting any money in any risky investments. I mean, that's not, what they're doing. And the XFL is kind of doing a little bit of both here. They're flexing a little bit of their star power muscle, and then they're kind of going ahead and doing a little bit with safeguarding things. But the USFL, they're playing everything safeguard right now, and it makes sense. Like right now, things are not stable. They're not, I wouldn't say they're completely volatile, but this is something that if something crazy were to happen, it'll fold both leagues. I mean, they both really are in a very fragile state, and we need really about another solid couple years to figure this thing out. Remember, this is still only year 2 for the USFL, and they just had their very first college draft, which was kind of this weird thing. So I kind of got excited about it because I'm like, oh, college draft, they're going to draft college players, and how's that going to work? Have these guys signed with the league? Have they not? What's going on? And a lot of it has to do with they pretty much drafted rights to guys if they don't go to the NFL. And so it's like, who did they have like a list of players that they were only allowed to, that they thought, that said that they would if they didn't get drafted? I'm sure that they've got something, somebody went through and analyzed everything and figured everything out for them, and I'm sure got them a list. But it was just like, it was cool, but then, a lot of it were guys that I had kind of never really heard of or I didn't know. And so it was, they did it all right. Like I said, this is the first time we're seeing that. This is really the very first year too that we've seen of any of these leagues of late that have tried things. So, that's cool in and of itself. I think the USFL next year everybody will be in their home stadiums, and you might even see some things even change up even more to where, like, the showboats and things like that, you might even see some name change or probably some like color scheme changes, I would imagine, for year 3 with that. You think the USFL, the USFL and the XFL, both of them, I think, are going to be a success. I think that there's plenty of room for both of them. If there can be hundreds of professional soccer teams around the world and billions of people watching it, then you know what, in the American market, I think we could do 48 teams, 16 in these 2 leagues, and you can have the NFL teams, and there's more than enough talent to cover both of those leagues. I mean, if you take just, so let's take all the guys that are average 4 years out of college, and take all of the good college players, you have plenty enough to support teams in the NFL and the USFL and XFL, and I think to make good product. A lot of it is that this is, again, these guys in the XFL, this is their a lot of them, it's their first time on a field that wasn't college, that was in meaningful reps, and so it's a lot of a lot of that stuff. JB, yes, the XFL is here to stay. Now, the part of the XFL game, for me, that is missing, and this is really the crux for me, that is a little disheartening for me, is the punting game. I am a guy, I love to pin the other team back on the 3-yard line and them have to figure out a way how to get out of that end zone. The other thing is that also adds that fan, factor in there where you got that loud crowd screaming, and you've got to figure out how to get that ball out of the back, out of the back of that end zone. I love pinning a team back like that, and you just can't do that in the way that this is set up. And part of it, I started looking at some of the stuff, and you've got that, right? So you kick it out of bounds, it comes out to the 35. And, so if you get the touchback, comes out to the 35. And the kickoff kind of the same way. And I'm kind of like, this game is not being played between the 20s. This game is really being played, I would say between probably like the 30s is where most of this game is being played. And I would like to see it expanded. Now, I'm not a defensive guy, so don't get me wrong. I'm not a defensive guy. Like, I still love good defense. I'm not going to not good defense. But what I am going to say is I miss at least the punting game. The kickoff game, I think it's okay. I think the way that they've done it and designed it makes it so that it, if you watch, pretty much the 30-yard line, 35 is, guaranteed that's where they're going to get the ball. And if you notice, the guys aren't starting from very far back kicking the ball because they're trying not to kick it into the end zone. So those things for me are are struggles that I have with the XFL game that kind of they almost feel like training wheels. And I know that they're really not. They're not the training wheels that the AAF had, where you can only blitz one guy and limiting what your ability is to do. This is kind of like you don't get as much of a running start with that. And Brown Tiger Month, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate just all of the support of all of you guys. Talking about the Mustang videos. So the Mustang will be back. The reality of it is that in Ohio right now, it's still too cold and too wet. And I'm not going to be working on anything outside right now. So pretty much where I'm at with it is the metal work is done on the Mustang. So I've got all the metal work done. I've got the body is ready to be sanded down. It's ready for body filler. And then the body's going to get painted. So, and then also too, I've got so it's got a V6 in it right now. I've got to swap out the throwout bearing is going out, and it started going out last fall, and I've just kind of parked it, been driving my Jeep. But the plan is to take the V6 out and then drop a old school 302 in it. I think I might start off with going carbureted, play around with that whole thing. And just the whole point of it's just really just to have a fun car that I can do burnouts with whenever I want to. About a 300 horsepower car is what I want to end up with a mile, put a mile cam on it, tune it up just a little bit. Like I said, get it to breathe really good. And, get about 300 horsepower out of it is really kind of where I want to go with it, just so that I can just have something that sounds really nice and I can go and have fun. Thanks, Pie Guy. I really do appreciate that. Thanks, Gollum. You guys are seriously, you're way, you're too gracious. Thank you very, very much for that. Now, getting into buy a soda on me. Thank you. Yes, and you could probably see back in the back there, I have my my Diet Dew. I'm a Diet Dew guy. I don't know. Go ahead and put in the chat what you got. That's my That's mine of choice. Now, Gollum, what do you say? What do you think of the UFL league? I sent you the link to the website on Twitter. Yes, I did check it out, and believe it or not, I was kind of crazy. So what it was kind of crazy with it. I didn't realize that was actually like attached to the old sorry, I keep wanting to say USFL, the old UFL that they had the Nighthawks in it, and all of those guys. I think Maurice Claret when he got out of jail and ended up there. But yeah, so let me look that up real quick, because that was kind of that one was kind of interesting. If you haven't checked it out, so hold on here. So it's UFL football, and yeah, they're coming back. So like they're in kind of like 60 days. So they're kind of like in that whole thing too. The problem for me is that with everything going on, I just don't have the time to cover all of these leagues. There's just so much going on, and I've just been trying to keep up with the XFL stuff. But this actually seems like it's going to work, and this is going to be probably one of those leagues that I think that's going to have just fun with like no-name guys that'll just be, leagues that maybe, we can kind of watch standout guys. It's kind of like your Last Chance U guys is kind of like the way I would look at it, which, if you watched any of Last Chance U, these are serious ball players. This is not a slouch league whatsoever. And I think that's what you're going to kind of get in the spring league. So if you can kind of figure, as I'm looking at things right now, I've got kind of you've got the NFL as its thing. I think right now the XFL really does have that leg up, and guys just want to be, if they're not in the NFL, they want to be in the XFL right now. For whatever reason, that being just the way, and a lot of it has to do with name recognition, The Rock, ESPN, it has kind of that flair to it. And the uniforms are the best out of all of them. And they're getting fans in the stands. that's the league kind of that's right after that you want to be in. Then the next one's kind of the USFL, and the USFL is kind of like, if you're not here, you can kind of end up here, and they're kind of like 1A and 1B. Like, I'm sorry, so you got one, and then you got 2A and 2B, and kind of think of them as like the NFL is the XFL, and the AFL is kind of the USFL right now. Because I don't really, I think that we would be taking things away if we were to say that right now a USFL team couldn't beat an XFL team, because I think that they're pretty comparable, but I think right now the XFL is getting the talent, and this would kind of be in that, like, this would be kind of that step down if you ask me. So it would be like, if you've got like college, football, you've got the NFL is kind of like Division I, bowl championship series, however you want to look at that. Sorry, that's old school, but like, D1, the whole D1 bowl scene. And then you've got the Division II is kind of where I see the XFL and the USFL, and then the UFL is kind of where I see that right now. And it did have me intrigued. I kind of, like I said, I've kind of played with it a little bit. I was kind of surprised that, like they've got some sponsors, they got some things going on for them. So, very cool. And Michael, thank you. And you guys are too gracious. Thanks for putting out great content and providing a forum for guys to have a chat. You're a top-notch guy. XFL play will be better with time. It's all gonna get better. Michael, thank you. Hopefully it does come off as genuine. Listen, I'm just a guy that literally sits in my wife's basement, and that she allows me to have a little corner in the basement to do videos. And so at night, after the girls go to bed, I just kind of sit down and I just kind of go through and I rant about what I like and what I don't. And you all are gracious enough to listen to me blab on about what I see about a sport that I absolutely love. So thank you very much. And it has been really neat, and it's really fun to interact with people from all over the world and get your guys' opinion. And two, like, everybody's experiencing this thing from a different angle, whether it be, somebody who's gone to the games and can tell exactly what's going on, to somebody who's just, sitting off in the distance, or somebody who's off in another country and doesn't have any clue. Can I request a live stream on Thursday during the game? Okay. So here's the thing about the Thursday, and, bro, I do apologize. So, the live stream, what's happening on Thursday is that Thursday I have to be at a 6:00 practice. So we've got a high school softball practice that I've got to be at. That is, we're bringing in a college coach that's going to be teaching us how to be base running. And then I've got to go from that to practice not only do I kind of do this whole the whole YouTube channel thing, but I also lead worship at our church. And so we have our practices on Thursday nights. So what will be happening is I will be going from one practice to praise band practice, and I will, doing that. And then when I get home, I'll be firing up the DVR and I will be watching the game and then going from that. So I do apologize. Okay, so maybe we can figure out a live stream for like a week 3 game or something like that, to where we can do like a Saturday night or a Sunday night game, because I could probably do that. Let's see. Hey, Charles, what's up? The games in Houston were awesome back in 2020. The Houston was rocking, man. I obviously didn't get a chance to get there, but those games, the fans were just ruckus. And I think that the fans will start to come back in Houston. I will say, though, what's happening in Texas, and I'm not trying to get political, but the landscape in the cities are really changing. So a lot of, now granted, this can be from outside of the city, but also too, city folk are moving from other places and moving into the cities, and the people which used to love their cities are kind of moving out of the cities to where you don't really have a lot of those people in Texas. Now, granted, this is not a guy from Texas. I've never been to any one of these cities. I don't know. I can just tell you from the demographics of what's going on there, to where I don't know if there's going to be that, but I think Houston, those numbers are going to pick up. I think they were like 17, 18 thousand last time, and I think this time they had like 12,000. They'll pick that back up, no big deal. Let's see here. Zachariah, glad to have you. Me too. I've been 4 games, love it. Good. Thank you for supporting your team. Thank you for being out there. Appreciate it. Jameson, just want to say, hey, love the ranting. Thank you, brother. Let's see here. Mike, what's up? Don't want a merger. Both can stand alone. I agree. Like I don't really want some merger. I know that's kind of a lot of people get into that. That's usually somebody who's not a fan of either one of the leagues. That's kind of where they kind of go. And so, Pie Guy, I do want to mention the thank you for helping the algorithm. In that, but both can stand alone. Both leagues are distinct enough to survive on their own, and I totally do agree. I think just for right now, just keep them separate. We'll figure out what to do, after that. But we don't need to be merging these things. We don't need to be doing that. Let them live as their own entities, and it's better that way for us. When they're competing for our eyes, that's a good thing for us. It really, really is. And we can love them both. And this isn't like, trying to find your best girl, that, if you go with this one, you're cheating on this one. And if you're with this one, you're cheating with this one. There ain't no cheating here. It's, you can have your cake and eat it too with both leagues. And I do. And we need to. So that's just that with it. Let's see here. What's Brown Tiger got to say? Absolutely, bro. What instrument you play in the worship? Okay, so it just depends upon the week. I normally switch between doing electric guitar and acoustic guitar, whatever's needed that week. A lot of times I'm singing, so I don't really play a whole lot of lead. I can play leads. I mean, a lot of the worship stuff isn't really very difficult stuff to play. So a lot of the, the lead lines, the hooks and stuff from a lot of like modern worship stuff, I play that stuff when I need to. About once every 3 months, we'll do a bluegrass Sunday where we'll play old gospel bluegrass music, and I'll play mandolin on that. I'm just kind of been playing for probably now, I don't know, been playing that for probably about, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 months now, something like that. And, that's been fun to kind of learn. I've been playing guitar for years. I can play bass if I need to, and I do sometimes. In that, and I mean, I can on the piano, I can bang with my right hand. But that's about it there. All right. So what else we got? Let's see here. Team could hurt each other's attendance, maybe. No, I don't think that that they're gonna hurt anybody. Texas is large enough that they can handle 3 teams, no problem. Rock wanted 3 teams in Texas because of logistics. The hub is, it makes sense to have the 3 teams there. It costs less on travel. I totally agree with that. What's up, Spicy Ben? Glad to have you. And then let's see here. What do you got, Pip? San Antonio is going to draw 20 plus K every game. Oh, every game, easy. Actually, if this team really takes off, that's the thing about Texas. They love winners, and you'll see that grow. They love their football and they love winners. Big on base myself. Nice. Yeah, every now and again I get on base, but not a whole lot. Can't imagine the channel surfing that's gonna occur once we get week 8, week 1, April 15. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Are you ready to admit that the DC Defenders and the Vipers are really good teams? I honestly think the Vipers are better than the Defenders. Here's an interesting thing, and I haven't put my picks together, but like, spoiler for my video coming up, the Defenders should be on, like, they should be on upset alert here, because that offense, they don't have things clicking on that offense. And I think that Vipers defense is better than what that Dragons defense was. And yes, I'm going to call them Dragons, to where I think that this is going to be, it's going to be an interesting game. If they can figure out how not to have mistakes on offense, i.e. figure out that quarterback situation of making mistakes at quarterback, there's no doubt this thing is going to be a game, and it could be in the favor of your Viper boys. So that's and the Defenders, I'm still on the fence. Vipers. The thing about the Vipers for me right now is they need some identity. They need a leadership on the field, and I just don't see it right now. What do you think? Will these players be on a short leash like a kicker? I bet if one has really bad game, they will try another, and but I do agree O-line will be the hardest to develop, in my opinion. Yeah, O-line right now is definitely the issue with some of these teams, and not necessarily the quarterback. But in this league right now, it's too short. You only got 10 games. You can't sit around and wait for a guy to develop. You just can't. The other thing is that they don't have a lot of money invested in a guy. So when you look at an NFL roster, a lot of times you see a new head coach come in and he brings his guy in, whether that be a guy that they've traded to get, a guy that they've signed to get, or a guy that they've drafted, and that guy becomes their guy. Now, there are kind of one-offs where they bring in a guy who's older, who's there to try to take this team to a Super Bowl, and then, then they move off into the sunset, then they get another quarterback. But once they draft a quarterback, they put millions of dollars into these guys. Trust me, they're the guy, and they're going to make that guy work, because the head coach and a lot of times the general manager, their heads are on the chopping block if they don't make that work. So if it don't make it work, 3 years, they're gone. So it's a little bit different than the situation here. Yeah, I see you, homeless cop. I see you. Yeah, with you guys in your cawing. Yeah, Los Angeles. So you're all the way out, California. Thanks for watching. Vegas will get 10K this week. Yeah, Vegas will fill that place, which is only 10,000 people. So yeah, I don't see them having an issue with that. Okay, what else we got? Let's see. Hey, way to see you, Head Bacon. Are you an OSU fan? If so, who will be the next OSU QB next year? I know that some people are wanting Brown. Some people are touting Brown. I say right now it's McCord's job. Pretty much it doesn't matter who it is. If you're throwing to the wide receiver room that they're gonna have, it is going to be insane there. Right now, we'll see after the spring game. We'll know after the spring game, because I would imagine one of those guys will be transferring right after the spring game, kind of do the whole thing with Joe Burrow. That's the one thing that people don't talk about is that coaching staff helped Joe Burrow find a place to transfer to. If you see, Joe Burrow has much love for OSU, and there's a reason, because that was handled correctly. The way that they knew that they had two guys that could start, they went with Haskins. They told Burrow, and they gave Burrow enough time to go out and go find another place, and they found a place where he fit really well, and obviously led the team to a national championship. Was able to develop an NFL career out of that. So you'll see that come. Right now, Kyle McCord, just because he's been on the team and he knows that system. So that's kind of where I see him there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams though are a mystery right now. I say I know in most. Gollum, thank you again. Geez, you should be doing that. I appreciate you. There are better ways to waste your money. I thank you for wasting it on me though. So you don't think 10 games is enough for the XFL? I think 10 games is enough for them. I just think it's not 10 games is too short to be sitting on a quarterback to develop a quarterback. So in the NFL, a coach usually gets about 3 seasons. Right now in the XFL, you got a guy and who knows where you'll be next year. You might, you're not going to keep this core group together. Usually a coach will keep a core group together in the NFL for about 3 years, to where here you don't have that cushion. Right now, it's this season, and you've got to make this season work. So when I say that, 10 games is fine for the season, and I think it's good for the amount of teams that they have and what they got going on. I mean, you don't need to be playing the same team 4 times. You don't need to. 2 times is plenty to be playing another team in this league. The thing here, though, for me, is that you're not going to waste your whole season on a guy. So if a guy isn't doing anything in 1 and 2 games, you got to move along, because you're not going to be able to keep up pace if you keep losing games because of a guy that's just playing poorly. You've got to change it up, especially the quarterback in these leagues. Gollum, getting to what you've got going here. So I know most Discord servers I'm in, I really talk about football video game, and I really hope the XFL and USFL can get a video game soon. I don't know. I just wish somebody would create a video game that was decent quality. I don't know why major developers are not looking at the space. The issue, okay, so all pro football, 2K all pro football, where they had all of the legends and the stars, and they kind of made that thing. It was a great game to play, and for the time, it was excellent. The problem is that they went after the licensing, and I don't think you need to do that. I think you just need to create a great world for us to play in, to where I can go in, and I don't care what the college teams are named, where they're located at, just that I can go in and do a college dynasty. I can take a team from a 1-star team all the way up to a 5-star or 6-star or whatever, however their system is. And I can do all the recruiting, and I can do all of that. Like, I could care less if it's got a Buckeye on it or not. That's not what's there for me. The money, I think the model has shifted, and I'm not there. And the NFL, like, they've kind of lost me with this, with their whole licensing, the way that it is. You can only do certain things. You can't do certain things. They've really nerfed what EA can do with Madden, because they have very strict parameters that the Madden games has to fall in. Like even when they're going through and you're moving a team to a different city, you can't just move it to any city you want. They have it specifically set up to what you can do and what you can do with your licenses. You can't create your own teams anymore. You can't, I mean, the game literally has become the no fun video game by the no fun league. And so, yeah, I really want to see, I really want to see a video game. I don't want it to be, I want it to be something playable. I don't want it to be just kind of, something off to the side that, we might get a really good product in 3 years if we all get around it. I'm okay and I'm cool about doing that stuff. It's just kind of one of those things for me that I'm just like, when we're ready for it, we're ready for it. I'm hungry for one. You give me a good simulation football game, I'll drop, $50-$60 on it. So I don't have any issue with that. Now let me keep working on. AJ McCarron had to be far the best quarterback performance in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, when you got done at the end of the day, like, he has to be the top guy right now in the league, and hands down, he has to be. So you don't see here. Let me keep going on. What do you got? Gollum, have you heard of Maximum Football? You should check it out. Yeah, Maximum Football. It's okay, but then again, it's not there yet. And I want something that's there yet. And the reality is that we had it back in like 2013, 2014. I mean, it isn't that much. And I know that there's a lot that you can do in there. I'm just, it looks like it's going to be fun. We'll see where it's at. Sorry, that's just my fickleness coming out. Like I said, I tell you guys, I have my opinions. So, hey, good to see you, Chris Campbell. If I didn't catch it earlier. Let's see here. What do you think of the college USFL draft today? Okay, so I did touch on it, and I'll touch on it a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. I kept getting all of the dings, and guys kept showing up that I had absolutely no clue who they were. And two, once I figured out that these are guys that could possibly end up in the league, but might not, because if they get drafted or get signed by the NFL, they won't be in the USFL. So part of me was like, why am I even paying attention? Like, I kind of get it that helps them to like set up their teams and that with it. But the other part of me was just kind of like, I guess I'm just not ready to be that invested in guys that I don't know if I should be invested in or not. Okay, so this is from JB. As a Sea Dragons fan, I still feel as if we are one of the best teams in the league. However, the first game did not go. Yeah, I mean, it's one game. You can turn things around. You know, this isn't college football where you lose one game, you're done. Your hopes of winning a national championship are over. Nah, it's not anything like this. Yeah, St. Louis, I mean, the reality of it is that they were the only offense that did that. However, their offense was dismal up into that. I mean, it wasn't terrible, completely horrendous, but it wasn't great going into that. Do you think that Vegas will experiment with a 2-quarterback system? Okay, so I don't think that their offense is really set up to run a 2-quarterback system. I think that if they can get Hundley to do what he needs to, I think that Perez won't be playing anymore. But if they can't, this will be the Perez show, and you're going to get what you got on Sunday. I think some games he'll be really well, and the other games, he won't. When it came to the Generals, I felt like they should have just let is it DeAndre Jordan or DeAndre Johnson? Let me know down in the chat, but whichever one, I felt like they needed just to leave him in and just forget about running anything with Perez, because he always gave them the option to run. That was just my thoughts. Let's see here, what pie guys got in a CPI of years. I mean, AJ Green or like Adrian Peterson, like playing a year to sell some tickets. They might get a guy like that, get a couple guys, but the thing that you got to remember is that okay, so you sell a few thousand more tickets. That's not where the money's at. So you're actually spending more money to not really make anything. So like right now, bringing in a big name like that, is not really going to be worth it for ticket sales. You need to have something that's going to, really move the needle for merchandising, ticket sales. Yeah, you're going to get some eyes from TV. I think it does some. Okay, so it is. I was talking Johnson. Sorry, I can't remember, but yeah, I thought that he did a fantastic. I thought that he did well. I mean, he had some issues here and there, but it wasn't anything where I felt like he needed to be benched. I just was kind of that's just like a Mike Riley thing, like just to and I don't get it. I just don't like that kind of thing with it. So let's see here. I think EA, this is Gollum saying it, I did kill the market, because in the past when everyone could make a NFL, more companies did it because it was the NFL, but now EA really did kill. Yeah, I mean, the exclusive license really kind of killed that whole thing, and it really kind of took it from a I don't know, just something that you just kind of really enjoyed, and two, there was competition there that furthered all of the games. And once Madden had the exclusive, you could tell year in and year out that it was just kind of a rehash. And then the NFL started, closing in on what they could do to really like expand on some of the stuff with it. So kind of a catch-22. What shocked me is that Brandon Silvers played very well in the first half. In the second half, we got the 2020 version of him. See if you can play a good game all 4 quarters against Arlington. I don't know if you're not going to get 4 quarters out of Silvers. But then again, I've said this, I'm not a Silvers guy. He's just another kind of hot and cold guy, and I'm not a fan of that. See, JB, I feel they should put the team logo in the middle of the field and not the XFL sign. Yeah, the XFL. Okay, so the logo's kind of all right. I get what they're going for, but to have it on the field, I'm just like, I'm not having it. I'm like you, go with the team stuff. If you're gonna paint it for it anyways, might as well go and do it that way. I don't know. Maybe just doing it solid black and white's cheaper. I have no clue. All right. So right now we are sitting at we're 10 minutes to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I got everybody that did super chats. Thank you so much. Make sure that I got everybody's here. And then what I will do is, I don't know, see if we can hit maybe on like 5 more things. We'll see what we go. Alrighty. What do you think of, talked about. Okay. So I think that I hit on that, and I got everybody to know that I'm a Diet Dew guy. I like my Diet Dew. Let me know what you got. Okay, so what's Chris? Okay, so let's go ahead and Chris, what do you got? If the XFL lasts the way we think, then teams, how do you think the XFL will have in 10 years? Okay, so things stay the way they are. Realistically, I think that the XFL will be somewhere between 12 to 16 teams if we still have the XFL. That's kind of where I'm at. I think the XFL should be a 16 team league personally. If you don't have the USFL, I think 16 teams is a really nice place for them. If you have the USFL, I think probably 12 is probably going to be that sweet spot, just because you're going to start getting into overlapping markets. And not that I don't think that you can overlap markets. It's just going to be a lot harder in the space for that. But who knows? One could buy out the other, and all of a sudden now you've got what you got. I mean, who could have predicted COVID, right? So you never know there. Okay, let's take a couple more here. Let's see. I don't know. Does anybody know why they didn't have their why DC didn't have the end zone painted? I still remember and have that Clemson shirt you got for me for answering a question way back when. Hey, hopefully you like the Clemson shirt. I thought it would be a cool thing, and wanted to do that for you. Thanks, man. I'm going to take off soon also. Excellent stream. Thanks, yeah. Looking forward to more, and I love Mr. Pibb, by the way, RC Cola. Hey, Pie Guy, thanks, man. And thank you for all of your investing in this channel. I do appreciate it. Probably because it's natural grass and DC United needs to practice on it after. Probably. It probably has something to do with their field prep and things like that. The funny thing is FIFA is very particular about the stadiums, about the fields, about the grass, and that whether you'd be surprised with all of the things that you have to have with them. Okay, if they do good after 2 years, can you see the XFL adding a couple more teams? I would say that if they do well this year, you could see new teams possibly being added for year 2, more likely year 3. If they hold on for 3 years, I definitely see them really looking at expanding. Thanks, man. Let's get a game live stream soon. Take care of your stuff first and let us know. I'm sure we will be there whenever you can be, unless we are at the games. Yeah, dude. All right. San Diego, and man, spent a ton of money on field upkeep. Yeah, they have to. I won't actually team in Honolulu or Toronto. I don't know if you'll get either one of those, but it is what it is. So, well, we're got about got like 55 here, so I think I'm gonna probably call it. I really do appreciate everyone in the chat. I do appreciate all of you that super chatted, all of the support. It truly is humbling, and I thank you all for it. I'll try to continue on in the, as I always do, comment with you guys back and forth and see what you have to say. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to sign off. You guys all have a good night. All right.